What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. We've got Gary Judge from Across the Park podcast. We've got Musk. Why can't I say that?
I don't know.
We've just got Gary then. We've got Gary, he's all know him now. He also has another podcast. And we've got Musk, our producer / contributor in the Feathers. Once again, big thanks to the lads for letting us record in here. This weekend, you just took your glass off. I'm going to ask you to read.
Oh, glad that I will. Actually,
my eyesight's terrible. What have we got on this weekend?
So we've got on Thursday, the blue on the black's not great, is it?
Friday, you need
feedback. Oh yeah, so the various sports on tonight. Louis Gibney, is it? Louis Gibney is on Friday. I'm assuming that's a singer, sorry Louis. Everton Man United obviously early on the Saturday, we're going to get into that. Villa Chelsea later on. And then we've got Steph Hodges in later on. I know she's a regular. And then loads of footy again on the Sunday. Newcastle against Forest, which the Reds will be interested in shortly as they start to slip down the table. And then obviously City and Liverpool, the big one of the weekend later on.
So yeah, that's in the Feathers, bottom of Harris Drive on Hawthorne Road. Again, Boss Boozer, come support it. And yeah, nice one. Right, Musk is informed. This is the first show we've done since the 10th of Jan.
Yeah,
we have obviously been texting, haven't we? Saying like we haven't seen each other for ages.
The first show we've done together, isn't it? I took my glasses off now, put them back on, I'll take them off now.
No, but in general, I've not really seen you, have I?
I know, yeah.
Which is unusual
both
for
been
us.
busy. It is unusual, yeah. Both been busy. It was like one of my New Year's resolutions, just have a detox from Andy Grant. No, only joking.
Charming.
It's just been chocker, mate, and you've been busy yourself on your travels as usual, haven't you?
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, to be fair, like 2.5 weeks or whatever it was you in Thailand.
My fault, yeah.
That probably writes off most of January.
Well, I spoke to so your Mrs. Jen had been to Amsterdam, I think, with the girls or something. And then I went to Amsterdam last weekend, and I said, I saw them in Crosby.
Jen had tuition? Yeah,
tuition. And I said, we're going to Amsterdam. And she said, you need to go to this Lost in Amsterdam bar. And it's, she was like, it's funny just to go in there type thing. I don't think she said she had to smoke or a drink, but we went in there and we did have to smoke. And so for anyone who hasn't been in Lost in Amsterdam, you go in, I like couches and stuff like that. Have you been in it?
Mm-hmm.
You go in like other rooms anyway, everyone's just sitting there, obviously all fucking stoned, all in like the little worlds and stuff. And we went and sat in the back and just had a joint. And obviously, when time just go, I'm not a big weed smoker anyway, so I guess I'm not conditioned, if you like, so I swear we were in there. I played like a 10-part Netflix series out. People were coming in. They were just characters in like their own subplot, and I'd give them all and just sitting there for like fucking 2 hours. And then I started getting panicky, thinking, "How am I getting out of here?" And obviously, we're stoned, and then more people are smoking. My legs have been sitting all comfy for like an hour and a half. My legs had gone from like pins and needles to like I couldn't feel them. And I'm like starting to get, you smoke weed, gets you a bit like paranoid.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in here forever. Like I am never leaving this place. I am lost in Amsterdam.
It's mad what to see.
It's fucking, it was so funny. And then, so just had a dead funny weekend of just a few edibles and just watching the world go by.
It's mad. Like I'm the same. I don't smoke weed. But the last time I went, we had a joint and we were sitting around this table. It was just like a round table, and we're all having a laugh, and it goes dead quickly from everyone having a laugh to everyone just starts going
sitting inside.
And I had in my head that like I was buying every round, and I was never getting myself a drink, or other people were taking my drink. So I'm going, "Where's my drink?" And I had to go into there, and I'm going, "No, that's someone else's drink." And like in the end, I stormed off, thinking that like everyone was talking about me.
Yeah.
It's just.
I'd say what though, we got told to go to this particular weed shop, right? And it was, I think it's called Grey Area. It's meant to be like the best one. So we went and got these edibles from there. And I swear to God, the weed in Amsterdam, it makes you pick up languages. Obviously, you're walking around the city and everyone's speaking different languages. But when you're sitting there stoned and I was speaking to people, I could understand every language.
Limitless.
I swear I could. Yeah, it was like things were slowing down around me and I was picking things up and I could speak every language. And I'm going, hey, they Scousers. And then when it would wear off, like 20 minutes later.
Scouse?
But then they were like Russian or they were like French but I swear.
Oh, right, okay.
But I swear everyone was sounding the same. It was like some crazy weed there, yeah. It was a funny weekend. But, very much recommended anyone who hasn't been. Lost in Amsterdam. And then I come back to this, come back to Liverpool not really performing. So we get into the sport.
Let's do it.
We'll start on Everton first because it's not been going as rosy as maybe you want to try and big up. There's been a few hiccups in the test event. I've heard
I'm not asked, mate.
I've heard, it's all going rosy on one hand, but no, joking aside, apparently, I spoke to my mate, Dave. I'll give you his honest report. I texted him after the event. I said, how's the new stadium looking? And his response was, incredible, but getting there and back is a nightmare. It would be interesting to see how the club and Liverpool City Council come up with the better options. Their number one priority has to be communication. In the long run, I'm sure we, the fans, will work it out, and private landowners will open up parking. We had a person in their late 60s with us who had to walk over 30 minutes with a walking stick, and it was freezing. Now, obviously, that's just the location of the ground, isn't it? It's going to be kind of quite awkward if I think there's just one way in, one way out.
Well, let's say, yeah,
So,
it is in the river. I mean, the two things about two of the aspects you've just mentioned then. One, the cold, which is one of the ones that came through to me so much. And two, the logistics of getting in and out. You're getting filtered out basically two exits or entrances in a wall. That's never going to change. Second thing is, as you say, it's one way in, one way. You can't, until they build a bridge or start putting on huge ferries to take people across the other side, there's only ever going to be one way out. So I think that's, to some extent, something you've got to accept. The cold thing is, again, like, the ground is in the river. it's
so
been
it's
built
actually a bit colder then, do you think? I mean,
it is colder, yeah, definitely. If you've ever been on the ferry, which I'm sure you'd have at some point, it's freezing on the river.
That, to be fair.
There's no, you're not getting any protection from the elements. And again, the reports I got is when you're walking around like the dock area, it's not so bad. But obviously, as you climb, it's colder because there's less protection from the elements. But you are virtually in the river because they built the stadium in the dock area where the water was. And obviously, as we know, the dock's been built out to allow ships and import and export over the years. So, I mean, look, you've got to take some of it with a pinch of salt. There's test events for a reason. There's not only going to be test events, there's not only going to be the test events, there's also going to be pre-season games. So you've only got to hope. I mean, I'm not worried about it at the moment. It is what it is. There's going to be certain people who are going to be impacted more than me. Fortunately, I'm a relatively healthy young person. The extra walk or hanging around a bit longer after the match because it's chocker is not going to bother me. But for certain people, as you say, like 69-year-olds or whatever, it's going to be difficult.
I suppose, I'm not saying this is the reason they picked the area, but I suppose what we've spoken about in the past, owners wanting fans to be in the stadium longer, spending more money. It's going to work a threefold, isn't it? Because if there's that bottleneck and people are thinking, we may as well wait, may as well just have a quick pint before we leave.
Well, again, Millsy, who does the Across the Park podcast with me, he went and he had a drink in the Bramley Moor before it. And a few of the lads who he knew were going to Murphy's, Murphy's Distillery, said you couldn't get in there. There was only 10,000 people. 10 Street was also rammed. So it was like, you're already starting to realise, as you just said then, that the fan zone and the concourse is going to be where most people have to drink, which is what the club wants. Yeah. The fan zone, by all accounts, is meant to, it will be the biggest by some distance in the Premier League. So it's going to be a proper festival-style fan zone. And the concourses, from what we hear, they're just huge, a bit like what you've got in your newsstand. And the food and drink is meant to be boss. So, look, I'm looking forward to the second test event. We don't know when it is yet. I think they've got to submit some reports. And obviously, that's going to be in consultation with the council to say, look, we need to make these changes. We need to. Sands Hills was carnage, apparently. But I think the other reason for that is the Ormskirk trains were off. So the Ormskirk line was off. So everyone was getting on the same. Yeah. There was a catalogue of stuff that I think that they'll have to take on board to learn for the next one.
I think it's probably a good thing that the kind of hooligan days, the 70s and 80s aren't there. Because you imagine that Dock Road, how is that even gonna
be boss scenes though?
Yeah,
you'd make a boss movie there, wouldn't you?
But it does scream out proper days of football factory, doesn't it? Like just on that Dock Road, you just have one come up from one end,
scrapping in the quay by the Titanic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, listen, it looks impressive. Even as a bit of red, I can say it looks a belter. So the other situation, which isn't just affecting people going to matches, the parking. Don't know if people have seen the parking situation. I saw it from, what's it called, Muster Blackstock, is it?
Blackstock Market,
yeah. Big new comedy venue the lads have done. I've not actually been in, looks a belter though.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it looks really good. So Liverpool City Council, for those who aren't aware, have put in parking restrictions 365 days a year. But it's down to, obviously, the parking that's caused from the new stadium. I understand it on match days. You can't have certain parking in certain places. But the fact they've just done a year-long kind of restrictions on it, it's affecting thousands and thousands of people who are just going to work. You know,
I think the original, like I said to you off air, I think the original idea or thought in their mind was there's going to be a lot of tourists that's going to become part of that kind of circuit of let's go there, and even more so while it's a new stadium. So I think that may have been the thought, and it's probably to avoid disruption to some of them businesses. Like most of the businesses along that area or in that area are mainly trade and construction and stuff like that, and they don't need a load of tourists parking across when they're trying to get wagons. And obviously you've got the docklands that need space, and they've made that road wider for the wagons and put a cycle lane in to avoid wagons not being able to get into certain. So I think the access to the docks is the big reason around it being 365, but extending it that far out is just daft. And I think common sense will prevail eventually, and the pressure of the businesses will prevail, because ultimately Blackstock Market can turn around and go, well, you're going to have to pay the cost of whatever the revenue we lose now, because we're not paying our council tax because you've basically stopped, prevents us from trading.
Such a tough one, innit, to manage. Like, yeah, I don't know what the answer is, but I just don't understand why, when the footy's not going on, because you're not going to get that many people going to do a tour of the ground, are you?
No, but you say that though. I mean, not that we're anywhere near, I'm going to say this and I get hammered by, not that we're anywhere near as popular with tourists as you are, but you go around Anfield any day and it's fucking rammed, and I'm pretty sure they've got the same restrictions around Anfield around parking. Not wider, but I think the vicinity of the ground, you can't ever park by the ground. But I just don't understand, as you just put it, don't understand why it's such a wide...
No, you're right. I've just remembered I got a parking fine. I parked near the ground.
To go and get a ticket or something?
To go and... I went in the coffee shop with my little girl. I can't remember what we were doing there, but I parked there and I thought, there's no match on. It's fine. And I got a fine.
Yeah, it is tight round Liverpool, because again, there's stadium tours, there's groups just coming to walk around the stadium. And then there's like city tours.
Hopefully they sort it, because like you say, imagine you're going to work now when you're having to pay these all fines, and so hopefully they get it sorted.
Yeah, it's mad.
Right, we'll stick with Everton then. I can't believe the run. What I will say, since it's the first time I've seen you, and I have like joked about it, but you, and I'm sure it was Jamie Neald, have sat over the years, maybe not you as much, I'm sure it was Jamie. I've sat with some Blues anyway, who when I even merely suggested the thought of a David Moyes return, I just got laughed at. We're bigger than him now. We've moved on from him now. We're too good for him. That was what the remarks were in the past. Now he's come in, whether you wanted him there or you didn't want him there, he's come in and he's absolutely transformed you. So there is a little bit of me thinking, God, he's all, didn't want to anywhere near the club a few months ago. And now he's the Messiah. Now Magic Moyes has got his backfiring it.
No, I don't think anyone, and maybe there's some exceptions. I have spoke to Jamie a little bit about this. I don't think anyone, in fact, I'm certain, no one disrespected the job that David Moyes done for us. And nobody, hold on, just bear with me. The bitterness around David Moyes was the way he left and what he done afterwards and the words he said about Everton. It wasn't about his ability to manage this club better than other managers we've had. The only manager, I think it was when we got Martinez in and Martinez kind of took the club, team on and played more expansive football. Let's not forget, he got us more points in that first season, Martinez, than David Moyes ever did. So he did take the team on initially. Obviously, it didn't work out. It wasn't the right fit. He tried to, go too far and certain signings didn't work out. Anyway, since Martinez, or that first season under Martinez, the only manager who's come close to kind of getting any tune out of the team is Carlo Ancelotti. Now, the last time I said, no, I don't want David Moyes back, was when there was a chance of getting Carlo Ancelotti, and it was like, look, you can't go back to David Moyes when there's a manager that good available. Since then, and I don't think, if it was just on his merit as an Everton manager and on his ability as an Everton manager, I don't think anyone would turn the nose up or go, we're too good for him. But there's definitely bitterness around. It's like when a player leaves you and leaves you and starts saying, disrespectful comments about you, and then use it, in the market for them again. You slag them off just because you think, I don't want him back. I don't want him to think that we need him again. Well,
listen, he's doing a good job of getting that bitterness away now, because I don't think any Everton fan could have foreseen where he's been the last 4 or 5 matches.
No, and I think the comments of the players, I think they're always interesting, the comments of the players. you sometimes take them with a pinch of salt when you hear players going, oh, it's great, you know, we're enjoying ourselves now, and you think, fuck you, mercenaries, why couldn't you do it a few weeks ago? But there was clearly an unhappiness and a almost a depressing mood about Finch Farm under Dyche towards the end, and there's a suggestion, certainly in Beto's comments, that there was a bit of bullying going on and really like, you know, putting the players down and putting them in the place. I mean, what the comments he made was like, what I've enjoyed under David Moyes is that he's actually praising me and he's actually making an effort to try and play to my strengths, and he's reminding me of the things I can do well rather than emphasising the things I don't do well. Which just sounds like basic man management. If you've got somebody where I always like compare footy teams to businesses. If someone works for you, to try and get the best out of them, you want to try and make them feel good and say, look, you're good at this, you do what you're good at, blah, blah, blah. Don't try and do things you're not good at.
To caveat that though, and I'm sure we'll come on to it a bit more when we talk about a certain Darwin Nunez, I think though you're correct in what you're saying, man management is, you know, trying to be positive, but it gets to a point though where if someone is crap at the job for so long, you know, and that's what he was, crap on it for a long time. I'm not saying...
No,
like Sean Dyche, maybe he did start. There's got to be a point where I'm sure Sean Dyche is like banging his head against the brick wall. With
no, I think if you're Sean Dyche, you're looking at it going, he's not the right fit. So fine, okay, well, just accept that and try and you either need to change the way you're playing, which he wasn't willing to do, which is fair enough, or you need to move him on. But anyway, that's one example. But I think there's a number of people. Ashley Young's come out and said that he's obviously an experienced pro, saying, you know, he's just doing some of the basics and he's getting in the players' head and he's spending time with individuals. Just trying to get to understand them better. Just Agana has said the same, saying him and his team are sitting down with more individuals, trying to make sure that we win our battles, that we understand the player we're up against and what they're going to bring to the table, and things like clever fouls and, you know, stuff that the previous manager was maybe overlooking in favour of the general team shape. So yeah, I mean, and look, as going back to what you said, it's been remarkable and I think the biggest thing for me, and this is, you'll remember me saying this towards the end, and I think I said it on the last podcast just before Dyche left, the most worrying thing for me about the Dyche reign, particularly towards the end, was you look around and you think not one player has improved under him. We might have improved as a unit and we kept going clean sheets, but nobody to a man has improved. Maybe Branthwaite, but I think Branthwaite is
going to improve anyway.
He's going to improve anyway. But you're looking around thinking, actually, shit, not one player's actually got better here. So what does that say? Well, now you're looking at it and going, you know, Jesper Lindstrom looks like a different player. You've got Ndai instantly looked like a better player. Decore looks happier. You know, Guy looks like he's back to his old self. Beto, as we've just said, then looks a better player. Michalenko looks decent.
I know we've mentioned Beto then already, but the free kick he scored, the goal he scored against Everton, even just that movement on Kanate to just make a run, I don't even think I've seen Beto move that much all season type thing, and even to even think of going for that run.
But the thing is, you look, when we signed him, and this is why I was like frustrated with the way he was being used for so long, and in the end I couldn't defend him, because as you say, you get to a point when a player isn't doing his job, i.e. scoring goals, you just think, oh fuck it, what's the point? Like, you can't defend a record when a striker hasn't scored for like 20 games, but you look at the way he plays at Udinese, and that was all it was about, playing off the shoulder, quick movements, in one touch finish. He was playing with, like, you know, Delafeu, Pereira, players who were just slotting him in all the time. We just never gave him that. It was just lumping the ball up, trying to get him to compete for things, when even though he's a big lump, it's not really his game. But as you say, I think just getting players closer to him, enabling them to get on the end of things and just play off the shoulder constantly, is just give us a different dimension.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's mad as well. Like, I was honestly certain before he's got Moyes in, I was certain you were going down. And, you know, now you're up to 14th, same points as Spurs and Palace, one more point than United. That's mad to think, like, where you were. And it was bad. I mean, you were never that worried, were you? I kept on saying, are you worried yet? And you were like, no, I think we'll be all right. I genuinely did think you should go down, and I just think the fair play to him. I mean, to go above Spurs and Palace and have a point more than United as well.
Yeah, I think Spurs are ahead of us by a goal, if I'm honest.
Are they? Okay.
No, actually, they've got a well better goal difference. I think it's United who've got a one goal better than us, but we're above them. But yeah, look, I think regardless of position, and one thing I said in our podcast today, where we are now in the table was probably the height of my expectation this season. We going back to it, there wasn't any illusions amongst Everton fans that we'd be, in the top 10 fighting for Europe. It was like, we just want to be competing with teams again, as in giving them a tough game, winning games at Goodison, which is what we've been used to since the formation of the Premier League, by the way. It's not like, we've never won games at Goodison. Goodison has always been a tough place to come, and most teams have found it difficult, and you would get some good wins at Goodison. We hadn't had enough of them under Dyche. And the second one was just to be relatively comfortable, beat the teams down there and be in a relatively comfortable position. And thankfully, I think if we win this weekend, you'd probably say we are almost mathematically safe, because based on the last 10 years, I think there's only one, maybe two teams that have gone down with 35 points or more. We'll be on 33. And I said to you, this bottom three is probably as poor as it's been, even though I think you disagreed.
I did disagree, but yeah, they're not painting themselves in glory, so yeah. One thing which must put a point on there is to say, I made a remark last week, and I stand by it, this whole idea of, we've said it in the past, would it not be good for Everton to go down? And I won't go into all that again so much, but it's like are you happy as a fan though, just to be playing for like a 10th place finish this season?
I think as it stands, again, going back to it, whether it sounds like a lack of ambition, the resources that we were enabled because of PSR and the various stuff that's gone before it, I don't think we could expect more than that. I think we've not been able to invest in the playing team substantially for 2 or 3 seasons. The manager that we had, and to a certain extent the manager we've got at the moment, I don't think we'll be able to get us beyond that point. I mean, it's not mathematically possible for us to go any higher, but I think, there's just, from now to the end of the season, it's not realistic for us to be knocking on the door of Europe. We'd have to win probably another 5 games on the bounce. But for us this season as a fan base, as cheesy as it sounds and as pathetic as it may sound, it was all about Goodison Park. It's like the nostalgia of, look, it's the last season at Goodison Park. Let's make sure we can enjoy the last 6 or 7 games, regardless of how much piss-taking might go on around it, or the fact that we haven't won trophies for so long. It's still been a ground that I've went to with my dad since I was a kid. I've brought my kids to. It's sad, but you want to be able to enjoy those last 5 games, knowing that there's not the jeopardy there as well, not the like.
Would it not be though? Would it not have been more fun at Goodison to say goodbye to Goodison by needing to win on the last game of the season to stay up? No. You imagine the euphoria though?
No, not really. I've said that to you before, but it's you still wouldn't wish it upon yourself. I've said it before. But I've been there though. It's like saying, and I've explained the feeling of euphoria, and I think you feel that as well, where like you're on your last penny, and then the money goes in, you're like, thank God, I've saved me house, and it's like, great, I'm going on with a pint. It's great, it's a great feeling, and it's a different feeling to just being high all the time and constantly getting success. And it is a boss feeling, and like I've said, and I've had the piss taken out of me before, you'll never know what that feels like to be on the brink and then to win. But you still don't go, as soon as that happens, I can't wait for that to happen again.
No, but the point I will make, and I would debate this with anyone, because I do think, I'm not on my own in thinking this, I think in 10 years, if you say to some Evertonians, let's say for the next 10 years now, right, you don't win a cup and you finish 10th every season for the next 10 years, okay? So by Christmas time, you aren't doing anything. You have 10 years of that, right? And you say to fans in 10 years, what was your best season? They'd say the season we stayed up on the last day.
They wouldn't. When you say, what's your best moment, maybe? As in like, that was a boss feeling.
No, because you will have had.
I wouldn't say what's your best season.
Well, you will have
remember
had.
When we got twatted 5-0 away at fucking Leicester, or remember when we got...
All right, if I said to you in 10 years, what are your favourite
memories?
When
the ground's emptied out after 60 minutes because Liverpool was 6-0 up, like all that stuff that goes on in that season.
All right, I'll rephrase it then. People will have the best memories from the last 3 or 4 games at Goodison in each of those seasons where you nearly went down. They would prefer that than if you finished 10th every season.
I'm not having that at all. Even I've been in Goodison in May when we've thought we qualified for the Champions League, when we've finished with the most points we've ever had. It's a sunny day, you win 2 or 3-0, you think this is boss footy, I've enjoyed this. You clap the players off thinking, I love you, I enjoy watching you, the kids are buzzing, like idolising the players. That's a better feeling than the
But I'm not saying, I'm not giving you that, I'm giving you 10th. That's it. You're not in Europe. You're not doing anything.
Who does that? That just doesn't exist. It's it's not a reality that any team has ever. I don't know any team in the Premier League who's had 10 years of
Crystal Palace.
They don't, but they fight relegation probably every 2 or 3 seasons. Palace, they haven't been on a level the whole time.
Think of a team that's kind of, they don't get relegated, they're just constantly, it's Everton. Everton is the only team that are just constantly just there, not doing...
Well, that's not true though, is it? Because you go back 10 years ago, and for 10 years on the bounce, maybe 15 years, not 15, 10 years at least under Moyes and Martinez, and to a certain extent Koeman, we weren't finishing any lower than 8th. So there was probably one season under David Moyes that we did, 14, 15.
I just think, I mean, yeah.
And I know what you're saying, and you can bait me all you want.
No, there'll be some people who Evertonians would want to, I think, wouldn't take finishing 10th every season.
I don't want to be a Palace, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the fact that the club have taken us through the mill, and I enjoy like the drama that goes with it, don't get me wrong. I think
that's what I'm alluding to.
There is a part of Evertonians that go, well, you know what, we secretly do.
It's a bit Everton, that, isn't it?
I've said to you before, and I've said our podcast views and whatever go through the roof when Everton get beat. Everton fans, I don't know what it is, we like to have a moan.
Revel in your demise.
Yeah, no, but our own fans like to listen to other fans moan about it, and there's something funny about it. And it's like, you don't, probably the most common saying in our lads' WhatsApp group is proper Everton.
Yeah.
Because when Everton something happens that's just like, how's that happened? You go, fucking hell, that's Everton, that. It's just a bit of a running joke, and actually quite endearing to have that kind of quality, to be able to fuck things up even when
on such a scale.
When there's no chance of fucking. How did you get that so wrong? Yeah. Like we keep on saying now, I'm just waiting for Everton to fuck this stadium up. Something's like, if there's, and you obviously coming up with reasons how it could be a disaster, but it's like Millsy, who's on our podcast, come out to the stadium the other night, he messaged and he went, that's unbelievable. Even Everton can't get that wrong. Like that, it's like being in Wembley. But I'm sure they'll find a way to fuck it up. Like there'll be like a Titanic moment where a fucking cruise liner crashes into the Bramley-Moore and collapses into the Mersey or something.
Given what I know what you mean, given that what Everton are like, it would not surprise me. Anything else you want to add on the blue shite?
No, obviously just looking forward to the game of the weekend. And again, just to go back to your point, for me now, I'm looking forward to the last 5 or 6 games of Goodison. I don't know what, obviously you have got some blue mates, and I know Muskie has as well. A lot of his family are blues. You cannot get a ticket at the moment for love nor money for any game at Goodison. The amount of people are saying, can you get me a ticket for this game, for that game? It's crazy. But the atmosphere around the ground since Moyes has come in and since we've turned the corner has been boss. It's been a nice place to take the kids again, which it hasn't been for a long time. So if we can get that for the last 5 or 6 games and have that kind of carnival atmosphere going on, I'm looking forward to another game at the weekend. But even though we're on the bones of our asses playing. United
aren't playing. We'll touch on Everton at the weekend and before we... So, I mean, United are so bad. Like,
they are, but
so bad.
I can actually remember the last time we played them when they were playing this bad under Ten Hag, and I think Dyche was in charge because I was abroad at the time, and Garnacho scored that crazy overhead kick, remember?
Yeah.
I think they beat us 1-0. And you know what? You've seen it. They put on a performance against Hughes. They put on a performance against City. They put on a performance against Arsenal. I'm not saying we're that type of team, but coming to Merseyside for Man United, regardless, more so Anfield, but even when it's Goodison, they always seem to find something and make it difficult. So, and they have got players in there that are capable of raising the game. That said, I do agree with you. I think the momentum's with us. I think we'll outrun them. I think we'll outwork them. I don't think they've got the appetite for a fight at the moment, and that's where I hope they'll come unstuck the weekend.
Just on that one, I heard some again. Not don't quote me on this, but I heard some in Manchester, people who are aware of the Rashford situation. Apparently, he's really bad in the casinos. Like that was one of the big issues he needed to get out of Manchester. He's like really, really bad.
Birmingham's not much better. More casinos in Birmingham, I think, than Manchester.
He's dropping like a lot of money every night in the casino. It's one of the issues maybe off the field.
I've heard that he's got like addiction issues and stuff. He was addicted to snus as well.
Yeah.
So I think you've got that. If you've got that personality, and it's sad for him because.
Yeah, it only come up the debate on will Rashford kick on now that there seems to be a few players who've left United who are doing well, and I kind of threw Rashford in that, and a few people who was in the know kind of said, nah, it's not about the kind of listen, he might turn a corner, but it's not just a case of being at United.
He's giving me Dele Alli vibes at the moment, Rashford.
Yeah, no, it's a shame, innit? Real shame, because I remember looking at him, thinking like, when Liverpool had Salah, Mane and Bobby, and then there was that one season, I think United started, they were looking on to have Rashford, Sancho, and then who was the other lad? Might have been Martial or Anthony or something, might have been. And you think like those three,
and Greenwood to an extent.
Greenwood, might have been,
Yeah, it was Greenwood.
Yeah, but I think he's could go in there looking to get a win, at minimum. Minimum a draw.
Oh, listen, make no mistake about it. Particularly now, I wouldn't say the pressure's up, but now that the players are buying into the way that Moyes is playing, I think they can see that. Again, perfect example being Palace away, that we can go and we've got a system that is difficult for teams to break down, and we're starting to look like we're more of a threat. And it's so much more encouraging for the team when you've got someone scoring. Like, it takes the pressure off. You know what that's like, and I'm sure we'll come on to that topic in a minute. But when you've got a forward who's getting goals with only one chance he scores, it's like, it gives you the lift, doesn't it? And it gives you a lot more kind of encouragement.
That was the one reason I thought you should go down, because as great as you were defending, and you were great, and Pickford was great when he was called upon. If you can do that, your best result's only ever going to be a draw, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact is, you're scoring goals, Right, should we come on to someone who isn't scoring goals?
Can we? Yeah.
Fuck me. Should we just say his name to start with, just to get it out the way?
Voldemort.
Can I just say as well, this whole idea of maybe it's this like woke society we live in, where you can't basically call someone out for being crap at the job. It's like, oh, you got to support them, and
That's not you, Andy.
Well, it's not me, but I mean, we live in a world where like you can't slag anyone off. I done it with Robbo the other week on Twitter. I don't even go on Twitter anymore. I said, Robbo needs replacing. Someone's, how can you say that? He's been a great servant. Yeah, he has, but I can't say he's not good at his job anymore.
Everyone's always been able to say that. It's just that more people are going to disagree on social media now.
More people are get offended about, like, I don't know, mental health, or you've got to listen. Football is very emotive, as we all know. If you bring it back to a workplace in an office, right, and there was a guy in the office who got paid like way more money than everyone else in the office, right, and what your job was, you all wrote a paragraph of an email, and it went down to the last lad who was on the most money, and all he had to do was press fucking send, right, and he kept on missing the button and hitting delete, right.
Delete.
Maybe the first time you'd go, never mind Dennis, but you'd be like, Darwin Dennis, that's, first time you'd be like, oh, he's a new lad, he's made a mistake. So, do you know, if that happened for a year?
3 years in it now.
3 years. Everyone in that office would be going, he's a knob, he needs to get fucked off. But because it's football, it's, we've got to, give him support. No, put him in your workplace. Imagine he worked and all he had to do was...
And by the way, this is Dennis. Dennis gets a party every time he comes into work as well.
Oh yeah, and everyone loves Dennis because he's a great laugh, and he runs to his desk and sits down dead quick, and he makes the fastest cup of tea. I'm sorry, but you get pissed off for him, and you'd want him fucked off.
I think he makes a cup of tea as well without boiling the kettle. He just puts cold water in.
Probably, yeah.
But people go, it's all right.
It's all right. It's Dennis, innit? It's what Dennis does. And it's absolutely... Fans' reaction to people having a go at him is just as frustrating as him being as shit as he is. Because I'm sorry, Robbie Fowler said it the other week. I'm pretty sure, in fact, Robbie Fowler knows a bit more than me
being a goal scorer,
about football, about scoring goals. He come out and said he's not a Liverpool player. And then everyone jumped on Fowler saying, we need to support him, not slag him off. I'm sorry, but if you want to be a winner and you want to win titles, you need to have that mindset where you can... I'm sorry, he's not good enough. I'm not saying everyone in the dressing room when he walks in have to go, Darwin, you are shite. I'm not saying the players need to physically say that to him. But...
you need to have higher expectations.
He needs to be held account. And it needs to be like, he needs to know that this isn't good enough. And
based on Arne Slot's reaction last night...
you could tell.
I'll be surprised that he gets many minutes, if any, now, going forward. It's like he's like... I think there was...
He just looked exasperated with him.
There was a moment, I think they kind of read, and he was like...
He wanted it to be offside.
He said, please tell me that was offside, I think, to the fourth official.
It was... And I've watched it back. He actually could have stopped.
He could have
the defender was running that fast.
Took a touch.
He just would have sent him the other way, like Mbappe did. and you just go and like,
Nunez with Mbappe.
yeah, oh yeah, imagine, yeah. But I mean,
I think Beto would have slotted that.
Beto would have scored that. Like, it's...
Do you know what? I'd go as far as to say any player in your team, regardless of position, would have scored that.
No, I wouldn't disagree with you. I just think, again, I'm not even going to go down the route of, you know, what he does for the team and all that. I'm not even asked about that anymore. What he does for he's there to score goals, and he's not scoring goals.
The first question on here, we'll come back to Nunez, I think, several times before we finish. 2 points dropped or 1 point gains. It is Aston Villa away.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they've don't think they've been beaten at home all season. They're obviously playing great under the manager. I'm a big fan of the manager. I think he's great. You know, with the signings, you think of Rashford. I know we've just kind of caveated that, saying it's more than just a Man United issue. But you're thinking if he gets a tune out of him, he's still got quality.
Yeah, Daniel Marlin.
The players they brought in got some great quality. Ollie Watkins there, you know. So
Rodgers.
If you told me a point, I probably would have took it before the game.
I don't think it's a bad point. I think what you're getting at here as well, or you've got Jota's missing the first half. See Nunez in the second. Jota's a mad one, isn't he, really? Because, like, I'm a massive fan, I've said I'm a massive fan of Jota. I just, something that this season, obviously he's had injuries coming in and out. He'd be frustrating for me as a Liverpool fan at the moment, because he's not, he's obviously the better of the two, but he's still not what you need or want from a centre forward, is he?
I sit on the fence with Jota in the sense that I love him, I think he's great. The only thing that it does me head in is he's injury prone. Now you can look at that and go, it's not his fault. But then also you go, part of being a footballer is being robust and being able to play. So if he's not doing that, he's not a good footballer in that sense, is he? When it comes to actually being on the pitch and being fit and able, he's I think he's top 3 finishes in the Prem. I think he's unbelievable. But again,
I think he's missed more chances. I don't know. I haven't got the stats on this. I think he's missed as many as he scored this season. I agree with you, and I normally would rate him as a top finisher. I'm not saying he lost that, but I think this season it doesn't seem to me like he's been anywhere near as prolific or as ruthless. He
had a mad one last night where he's trying to kind of bend it in the top in Annie, and it's kind of hit close to the corner flag. But no, listen, I'm a big fan of him. I just think he needs a run of games, because I think he's had 3 or 4 months out. He's coming in, he's then competing in the rotation. It's not as if he's Mo Salah and he's starting every week and it's easy for him to get back up to speed. He's come back from injury and then he's having to then fight with the likes of Gakpo and Diaz. So it has been tough for him. But like you say, if you want to be a top footballer, you can't be injury prone. I know it's a bit unlucky. It's just it might be your body's DNA, you know, your biomechanics, whatever it may be. That's unfortunate for him. But it's like we're saying about Nunez. If you're not good enough, whether that's through talent or your body not being able to cope, then you're not good enough. It's black or white in it. So
it's not on here. We're going to come on some individuals, but just a few questions from me. Is it a concern a little bit the goals you concede at the moment? It's 5 goals in the last 3 Premier League games. For me, when we played as a Goodison, I'm not saying this dramatic. Every time we went forward, I thought we'll get a chance here. And I felt like at times Villa last night, now the XG doesn't suggest that, but they did get in quite a few times. I mean, that Daniel Marlin chance would have been a goal. He was onside by a good yard.
It's weird, you know, because when I look at our defence, I mean, look at the keeper. I know Alisson's not. He's again been out injured a little bit, and I wouldn't say he's had a few unbelievable games, but I don't think consistently he's been as good as he has been in years gone by.
Well, he hasn't had to be at times, though, has he? To be fair.
Yeah, but you know what? Weirdly about our defence, I think Van Dijk and Kanate, I think best central pairing in the Prem. But our fullbacks, as great as they've been, have been really poor defensively this season. I think Robbo's improved, I think, as the season's gone on. But if you remember the start of the season, we watched it together, the Arsenal game when we were away, and Saka had done him. The first part of the season, when our defence was really good, we conceded to say about 10 goals. I think you could attribute about 6 or 7 of them directly to individual mistakes.
I think Robertson at the start of the season for me was just confused as to his position. He played so many seasons.
He has improved,
playing high and wide and stuff to playing inside, and then so I think he's just improved his understanding of the system.
Yeah,
if I'm honest.
But the start of the season, a lot of the goals were his fault. As the season's gone on, you can see he's improved a bit. But Trent, again, a few injuries, maybe the contract stuff that's going on in his head. But he's got done quite a bit, and so it's weird. You look at the 2 centre halves and you go probably 2 of the best defenders in the Prem, or up there at least. But
Canate should have been sent off over 6 times in the last 10 games.
I'm a fan of Canate.
He gets sucked off in the second half of nearly every game. So he's about to get sent off.
I think he's great though. I think he's still young. What, 25? I think he is.
He's a top defender. Like, but I just think looking at it for me, obviously I've just spoke about the importance and the significance of when you've got a player who just takes every chance. Obviously you've still got Salah. Salah's not going anywhere, and I don't think his form's dipped necessarily, but. You've got that. You've got Jota. All right, maybe not missing every. Nunez is missing chances. The defence. I don't know if the defence is starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of, okay, we're not scoring 4 or 5 here on a regular basis.
I think that the goals yesterday, were defensively, they were quite passive. So like when the ball's coming in, we've got players just like watching the ball go across. You got Watkins running past 2 lads to get where he goes for his goal. Then for the first one, could Alisson have come out instead of Szoboszlai, Edney? Like you've got like these players taking too long to make a decision that they make no decision. Yeah. And then the forwards, obviously because they're attacking, they're going to react better. So, and the same for, I'd say, for Tarkowski's goal last week.
It was, yeah. And I mean, Beto's, it was just like, it was so easy.
Yeah.
It was wide open.
So I think that the lack of aggression at the back, sometimes they... It might be because Van Dijk's so cool that everyone's trying to be as cool as him and all that. But
is it maybe a little bit again though? And I've felt this watching you, and we've spoke about this since the start of the season. It's almost the style of the manager, isn't it? He's so cool and so calm most of the time, that it's almost the players going, all right, yeah, it's about being controlled, it's not about being overly aggressive.
We said that at the start of the season. I was at the game when we got beat by Forest, and it was the one thing I think we actually spoke about on the pod, and when we started comparing the two teams, because it was quite early on then. It's like you didn't feel like it was like, right, let's go gung-ho. Let's get the goal back. It was just about, we're going to play, and if there's an opening, we'll probably score. And that particular game, there wasn't an opening, we didn't score.
That's paid off in the main, isn't it?
In the main, it's paid off. But again, there are times where you could go, actually, we weren't quite as,
I just don't know if going into the run-in now, it's getting to the, the thick end of the season and when it really matters. I don't know if that's when that type of quality starts to come in a bit more. In terms of that aggression, that agency.
You're right, and it might do, because you've got the players there who've got that in the locker. It was only a couple of years ago they had that in them, so they might end up switching it up again. But I do think, though, this whole idea of, and listen, it's exciting, it's a title race, it's exciting, it's meant to be like this, but I think it's funny, like the narrative on the managers, the media and the fans on who's got the most pressure. It's almost like the word pressure is like this hot potato and no one wants to say it's us who's under pressure. I seen it last night, them saying, oh, Liverpool are playing first now, it's the pressure's on them. And then Liverpool are trying to deflect it, saying, listen, it's Arsenal who've got to win and catch us. And then Arsenal saying, oh no, it's the leaders,
psychology.
So listen, and that's what we've got to get used to over the next, couple of months. But again, I know what you're saying about defensively, but I think as a team, I'm still loving some of the football we're playing. McAllister, I mean, he's been one of the stand-up players this season, hasn't he? Him and Gravenberch, but especially McAllister. Because he's popped up with a few goals as well along the way. I think you forget as well the experience you've got. He's won a World Cup. Do you know what I mean? He's top player.
At the span of your team, for centre forward aside, you have got experience right through, haven't
you? Yeah. No, it's so yeah. I've seen a few people as well say about like, oh, again a little mini blip. I think Arne Slot got asked it yesterday, and he was like what kind of what blip, if you like. I don't feel we're in a blip. I just think there's some tough games coming up, and you just need to play good football and be a bit lucky at times. And you could argue, we conceded in the last minute against Newcastle, a little bit unlucky. We conceded the last minute against Everton, a little bit unlucky. We don't get that chance. It doesn't go in the back of the net, a little bit unlucky. We're not playing badly. I don't think. I'm not concerned it's a dip or anything like that. It's just kind of open those moments, kind of go your way at times.
Yeah, definitely.
The weekend, Man City.
Little concerns about the Bradley injury. Is it just a knock? I mean, he walks off the pitch, doesn't he? I don't know if it's a muscular one or whether it was a knock and it was like last minute.
No, I think it was a hamstring. I think it was when he sprinted.
And it's the fact that he wasn't on for long as well. Like he'd not been on the pitch for long, so it's not a fatigue like injury where it's like a build up or anything over the game. And Trent has only just come back as well, so you were probably hoping that he was coming on to give Trent a little break for the end of that game so that he's more fit for the next game.
Interesting as well, looking at we're going to obviously coming on to the City game now, and it's related to the whole, the selections I remember you're going to have going into that game. Pep didn't basically call upon any of the big hitters on the bench. Once they went 1-0 down,
he just sacrificed it.
He just went sound. I'm keeping my team for Sunday.
Which is annoying because they're not going to fucking win the league now. So I'd rather.
But you know what he's like. He would definitely want to stick it to you, wouldn't he? Or certainly show that they've still got something about them.
Yeah, which is obviously unfortunate for Liverpool, but yeah, I mean, I thought I forgot Trent only just come back from injury because I was thinking, why is he taking Trent off? I actually said to me dad, is he kind of sending a sign to Trent, going, look, like we've got, if you are still thinking about moving on, then we've got someone ready and waiting there to come in.
I think he just knows there's big games coming up, and you can't afford a player who's just come back last week to play a full 90. And unfortunately, the player who came on then had to go off injured.
The chances are, though, if he's gone off there, he was probably gonna have broken down at the weekend as well. So it's if that's niggling there, it's.
I won't harp on about it too much because it's we've not really heard about much in the media. But this whole Trent situation I've come up with. Me, I love me analogies. Do you know what I feel he's like? He's like Brad Pitt, isn't he? When he's going out with Jennifer Aniston, and it's like every other fella is like, wow, Jennifer Aniston was personally my little, my pin-up when I was a kid. You're like, wow, fucking got everything, like, do you know what I mean? And then he goes with Angelina Jolie. Do you know what I mean? I think like Trent, you're at Liverpool, you're with your Jennifer Aniston, but Real Madrid like this Angelina Jolie. And there'd be some fellas who go, you'd be mad to go, and then there'd be other fellas who go, well, it's fucking Angelina Jolie, innit?
Yeah, they were probably my two, to be fair.
Yeah, so you think that's
Trent. You couldn't top that.
He's like Brad Pitt at the minute. But if Trent does ever listen to this, where's Brad Pitt now? Who did he end up with? None of them. Fucked her up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Grass is not always greener. Anyway, yeah, City the weekend. Be interesting. Like we've just touched upon any injuries Liverpool have got. How he rotates it. I thought we missed Gakpo last night as well. Hopefully he's back for that. Especially with City, they're not with resting their players. Again, it sounds, without sounding too defeated, saying I would have took a point against Villa. I'd take a point again on Sunday and move on.
The amount of times though that you can only take a point and then those points aren't there anymore.
I think you forget it. Like since it's been a 3-point league, I think back in the 80s the draws are like sounds only an extra one less point. They don't have compounds quite quickly. You'd have been better off. For instance, you take a point on Sunday, you'd have been better off throwing the kitchen sink at it against Villa and losing against City, because neither of those teams. It's not like in the past when actually drawing against City, you're not losing any ground because City aren't going to catch up to you.
What score did Arsenal get on to with City when they played them last week?
Well, they battered them 6-1 or something. Was it 5-1?
Was it
5-1? 5-0.
I just think as long as you don't get beat, I think Arsenal, with them not having a striker, we still got to play Arsenal.
5-1, wasn't it?
5-1.
Arsenal have got a few tough games. Put it this way, I've got more confidence in Arsenal dropping more points than as long as we don't get beat. Is basically what I'm getting at. I don't feel the same pressure as if it was.
As you're getting at here, though, I think the next week is so critical, isn't it?
It's massive.
Like you put here, if Liverpool, you could have a 5-point lead by Sunday's match, and obviously if the result doesn't go your way, it could be a 5-point lead with Arsenal having a game in hand, which potentially makes it 2. You could.
And then we've got Newcastle then on Wednesday.
Yeah. So you could be going into that Newcastle game because of the way the kickoffs fall. Arsenal could be a couple of goals up. You could be looking at a 2-point lead.
Well, by the time we record next week's show, we could be second. If Arsenal beat...
Arsenal haven't got enough games, have they?
No, they have. Arsenal play Leicester at the weekend. Sorry, West Ham. They play West Ham and then they play Forest away.
Yeah, but that was only... So the victory against West Ham or whatever was only put them 5 points behind.
Yeah.
And then again was only put them 2 points behind.
All right, sorry, yeah. But I'm just thinking if we
could be a few goals up, and you could be looking at the live table, seeing you've only got a 2-point lead, knowing that
with them having a game in hand,
a draw or a defeat against Newcastle means that it's in their hands.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So which seems mad because for weeks we've almost been going, it's 7 points, 8 points, possibly 10, might even be 12 for game in hands and all that. And then within a week or 10 days, it's like, well, it's in Arsenal's hands. So
and that's why I think this next week is so critical. And although I know what you're saying, like a draw against City away can't be seen as a bad result, it also could really put you under pressure if you don't get a win.
Yeah, it's 100% agree. But the reason I go back to just don't get beat is I don't fear Arsenal as much as fear City in the years gone by. As in, I don't think Arsenal, although they did put a great run together last season.
When did you play Arsenal at Anfield?
Third to last game of the season it is. I think it's the
10th of May.
10th of May, I think it is, yeah. Yeah, we play, I think, Chelsea, Spurs, Tottenham.
We got us before.
Or it might be Everton, Chelsea, Spurs.
Play Everton on the 2nd of
Arsenal.
April.
It's a mad few, like, last few games of the season. I think we might clinch it at Arsenal, I think. That's the day we're winning the league, I think.
At Anfield?
Yeah.
And when's that wedding?
It's April, end of April. The
Oh,
wedding
is
is, yeah. So my sister's getting married when we play Spurs on the like end of April. About 5 games to go.
This could be outside the race by then.
Yeah.
Could be over.
So I'm going to go, just don't get beat. At the weekends, outstanding defeaters, just don't get beat. Right, on the Champions League shout, the draw gets made this Friday, I think, doesn't it, today?
Yeah.
As in, when it comes out.
When it comes out,
Yeah, so Liverpool at the moment, second favourites. Although we were favourites, but then I don't know, people must have looked at Real Madrid beating City and now put them favourites.
That's literally the swing from that fixture.
Was it?
Yeah, it is,
yeah.
Yeah, so Liverpool, 4-1 that is. Madrid 7-2. I'm not going to get too excited till I see the draw and all that, really. I'm too focused on the league at the moment.
There's no doubt you're getting Club Brugge, by the way. It's absolutely nails on.
No, PSG it, isn't it?
We can only get
Benfica.
PSG or Benfica. So that part of the draw's already been done.
Oh, okay.
So it's
is it?
us,
PSG or
us
Benfica.
Barca, I think. And then it's...
Can play the PSG or
yeah.
Benfica. I've been to both their
PSG
grounds
or
as well.
Benfica?
No, it's not even like a European.
I think both those sides kind of suit you. PSG and not the PSG from a few years ago, albeit that they're getting better results in the Champions League. They haven't got, I don't know.
I looked at the team yesterday. I'm not like,
No.
you know...
They're a young team, like. They're a young team, and
fancy us, though.
Enrique's done a great job with them, but I think both of those teams you comfortably brush aside. I'm looking at it now, and you look at it's mad, isn't it? The top 3 in the betting, 2 Premier League teams.
I think
then
Barcelona for me, you know.
I'd even fancy Villa against most of those teams, apart from Juve and Madrid, to be honest. I'd even fancy them against Arsenal over 2 legs.
I think Atletico would have... you think Real Madrid 7-2, Atletico Madrid 16-1. There's only a point difference in La Liga. So it's not as if Atletico Madrid are playing completely off it. They're only a point behind them in La Liga.
No, but I think what they're looking at, the bookies in particular, and people who...
Real Madrid in the Champions League are just a different
and
animal,
also they've got like... Still got about 4 defenders out. I think Riyadh was back last night, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But they're starting to come back to fitness. They've still managed to get through so comfortably with like one fit defender.
And Mbappe is getting better as the season goes on. He started off a little bit dodgy, but he's...
Well, all Ancelotti's had to do, is just move everyone's position around to try and find.
Yeah, because once they know, it's like we say about strikers, because once you got him scoring, you can half get away with.
And you've also got like the likes of Vinicius, Bellingham, and the others behind them. So,
before we come on to boxing, I just want to thank everyone who got in touch with me this week. There was a good 6 or 7 people by the end of the day who'd got in touch with me, asking me if, as I was away, was I in Dubai, and was I the person exhibiting fixating behaviour with Emma Raducanu? Have you seen this?
No.
I'm not seeing it.
No.
So
I've seen it. I've seen you joking about it.
6 or 7 people messaged me on Instagram saying, "Oh, was this me?"
Why are you thanking them? That's
joking aside, I mean, it was a funny
Nancy.
joke, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, it's actually quite serious, but obviously because I got one about Emma quite a bit, people were joking saying it was me. But really, sad and weird thing happened when she was playing in. I think it's not Dubai, was it? It was somewhere actually in the Middle East. She's had a stalker or someone who was exhibiting fixating behaviour. So she was, I think, 2 games down, and she spotted a fella in the crowd who, I don't know, she's maybe seen him before or something like that or whatever. That proper freaked her out, brought her down to tears. The man then had to get removed. He's since been banned through all
Stalker.
WTA events. But I seen a report on it this morning. It's quite common in women's tennis, because some of these smaller events, you know, I think
you're quite close.
You're quite close to them. It's just like playing at any local tennis court. Sometimes you can be quite close. I think when she was 19, she had a guy walk, I think it was 28 miles to her house in London, and then robbed one of his dad's shoes off the porch. Like, you're talking really weird behaviour.
Really
you know,
strange.
there's been other tennis stars in the past. Women who've Serena Williams has had a stalker. There was a Steffi Graf had a stalker where someone ran on and stabbed a tennis player because he was a fan of the other tennis player. So this isn't totally uncommon, and it is really unfortunate that Emma has had to obviously go through this. She ended up getting beaten in the match. She was on her longest losing streak, but then she won the first round. This happened in the second game. And she done actually really well to come back. Made a bit of a game of it, but she got beaten in the end 2-0. But yeah, as much as I do, you know, have a joke and say she's not as good as everyone thinks, on a serious note, it is quite troubling, really, isn't it? You think she's only fucking 21 as well. I mean, I know we joke and say, well, I do, saying that she'll never win another major. It's one thing saying I don't think she's good enough to be in tennis. I mean, it's not nice, the fact that she's got a stalker there. Like,
no.
Last weekend as well, I went to the boxing. Was lucky enough to be in the co-op to see Jazza win one of Jazza's best performances. You know, roll back the years. It was brilliant. Puts him back on the map with that title. Unfortunately, you're seeing Robbie Davis Jr. get beat. Really sad to see that. The lad he come up against just looks like a real prospect. You know, he looked brilliant. That was sad to see him.
I mean, you can't. Olympic silver medalist. He's going to look like a prospect. Like.
But you know what I mean. He's like, for someone coming up. I mean, people there have got very high hopes for him. To go on and, you know, really achieve big things in the sport. I didn't know much about him. I was hoping that Robbie might get, but yeah.
No, I mentioned on the show last week it was going to be a tough ask against Pat McCormack. Like.
He was put in there to give him a bit of a platform, wasn't
he?
It was
like
going to give him a tough fight.
Yeah,
but he wasn't
put him against a name who he still should beat, basically.
And then he's since retired.
Good matchmaking, to be fair.
He put a post up after it, just saying, like, you know, thanking boxing, and that's him done. And then there was obviously the Cattle fight, so close. I thought Cattle might have won, but you know, couldn't really say it at the time. Close, but Barboza got the victory. I just feel so sorry for Jack. Like,
Simon's Everton boxing, we say it all the time.
And he's been so unlucky with Simon.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, after the should have been the first victory after Josh Taylor, obviously it wasn't.
Yeah.
And he should have got big fights after that, and no one would go near him.
Yeah.
And
but that Josh Taylor fight, by you know, winning the fight, but not winning it, if you like you say, it stopped him getting so many more big money fights. It stopped him having those big nights, and then when he kind of does get to have a big fight, it's a really close fight, and he doesn't get the victory.
He's caught someone on the wrong side. Yeah.
Really, really unlucky for him. And then what's that, Crawler looking strong?
Yeah, Will Crawler. Last couple of fights that I've seen him, he's just been in and out.
Who's that? What relation is that then to?
His little brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the boxing was it was good in that co-op arena. I really enjoyed it. And then this weekend you've got coming up absolutely, well, they're calling the card of the
century.
Yeah,
phenomenal.
The best card ever.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And again, it's just another incredible advert for Riyadh season, really. And I think what's great about what they're doing at the moment is that I think it's got the potential, if these cards continue, to change almost the perception of a defeat in boxing. Because now you're looking at it going, okay, if I get defeated on a card like this, but I perform, I'll get invited back.
It's a great show.
You've got all kinds of little bounties going on behind the scenes, going, look, if you knocked him out, I'll give you the 100 grand. And it's like, wow, well, might as well go for it then. And I think that's where in the last few years, certainly the last 5 years, where the UFC's had the upper hand over boxing, is that if you get beaten in the UFC, it's no shame as long as you put on a show.
People were so precious of that zero, weren't they?
Exactly, whereas it's not like that in UFC, is it? And now I think, you look at the cards, Dubois and Parker is almost epitomises that. Two fighters who've lost massive fights fairly early in the career that in the past would have just went, because they never got the fights again, whereas Joseph Parker, I think he's won his last 5 or something like that. He's climbed back up to contend for a world title. Dubois, almost the biggest turnaround in Wales heavyweight history after being beaten what was a domestic fight against Joe Joyce to turn around and win the fights that he's done against the odds, particularly against Anthony Joshua. That's a credit. And for that to not be top of the bill, a Wales heavyweight, championship
The funny
fight.
thing is, when Liverpool were playing last night, is that was actually the thing that they have there for it was Dubois against Parker, because they know that that's going to get more people England, to go, sound, I'll tune into that.
Yeah. Obviously, the purists are going to be looking at the Beterbiev Bivol fight, but you're right, domestically, Dubois is now the new darling.
But even what's funny is saying that, I'm more excited about the Callum Smith watch.
Oh, without doubt. What's so shit about that, though?
It's on at like 6 o'clock.
I know. I was speaking to Stephen the other day, and he was like, at the moment, he's been told it could be 4:45. That's rubbish, innit?
But if there's 6 other great fights
I still think it should be slightly higher up the bill, particularly now, as you pointed out here, Muskie, that Schofield's out of it. I'm hoping that they lower that down, they drop that down the card and move Callum up.
Hopefully.
Because I think from a UK point of view, they're going to miss out on some of that exposure because the 3 o'clocks.
That could be, that could have bloody done Wembley or something.
You'd sell Wembley out with that fight. No doubt about it.
On that thing, your fight out of Schofield, he got drugged or something, didn't he? Did you see that?
Spiked or
something?
Yeah, that's what's going around. Well, the main story is just hospitalised.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's
I mean,
you know what the conspiracy though in me straight away thinks, as he got Nick doing something, and
he's going to fail a drug test.
He's going to fail a drug test.
I got told he impregnated Bonnie Blue.
Oh God! Do not talk to him.
And he's just he's at the
he's fucking got AIDS off it. No, and I mean, listen, I seen it one little thing on Twitter. Then before I went down the rabbit hole, the whole idea of he's got something in his system. They've had a fucking wider report come by, and then they're like, "This is gonna."
They don't want to upset the bill, so let's just brush it under the carpet.
I got spiked and I'm in hospital, and now I'm not fighting. So he's almost took himself out the fight.
He was up against it anyway, but
I mean, listen, that's just all speculation, but the fight's off anyway now. And Josh Padley's coming.
Good luck, mate. He's just going to get brushed aside comfortably.
Stevenson's unreal, like.
Yeah, he is.
And you'd hope, like you say, they drop that fight down.
It would be the obvious decision, like.
Stevenson now is like 1 to 100 to win.
1 to 100?
He should be. Stevenson should be first on. Hopefully, Jilly Zhang's after that, and then Callum Smith. Hopefully, that's the order. I don't think it is.
One of Callum's first fight in a long time when he's not been favoured. There's probably only a handful of fights.
I'm honestly gobsmacked. I know. But listen, Boatti had he come onto the scene with a lot of fuss, but for me, he's not fought anyone at world level at all. I'm shocked. And I know the bookies have got it in terms of him being maybe perceived to be more natural at the weight, but he's not been in against anyone near Callum Smith. And Callum's always been a light heavyweight. He's been a
He's crazy super middle, was he?
Yeah.
Like, how was he making that?
I just honestly, I think the bookies have got this massively wrong.
I'm going to be having a bet on Callum for the knockout. I think.
I'm not sure of the knockout because I still think Boatti's a big lad, and I don't think, despite Callum, we forget about Callum. A lot of Callum's knockouts, nearly all of them, were obviously at super middle, and so. He's always been too big for that weight. I don't think at light heavy against
that check left hook that he does though. Honestly,
listen, it wouldn't surprise me, but
I just don't think the respect he gets. He's only been beat by Canelo and Beterbiev, like only 2 losses on him.
Two of the pound for pound best pound for pound fighters in the last 20 years. So I think he's massively overpriced. I think you can get him as close to 2 to 1, which is just insane.
Yeah, just for the wins, just under 2 to 1.
Yeah, 13 to 8, I think.
Crazy. What's the knockout?
4 to 1, and it is 3 to 1 for decision.
Wow.
Decision for me, like
surely.
I think he could put him down, and that might be the one that swings the fight in his favour. I think early on it'll be fairly tense. Around the middle, I think Callum could upset him, maybe put him down in a round, and I think that probably takes him clear, and at the end of the fight's a bit more open, and that'll suit Callum, I think, when it opens up.
It's going to be a cracker anyway.
Yeah, it will be a cracker. I think in terms of the other fights, I don't know if these are your predictions, Muskim.
No, that's just like going through
the favourite for the market.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Dubois knocks out Joseph Parker. I think Joseph Parker's tougher than people give him credit for. Dubois is a big puncher, but Dubois' biggest asset is his jab and how dominant he can be with that, and I think he'll use that to good effect. I think he might put him down, but Joseph Parker's a tough one to get out of there, and Jilly Zhang hit him with some big shots and didn't move him, and he's probably arguably a bigger puncher with a single shot than Daniel Dubois. So I would go with Dubois on points. Beterbiev, Bivol could be
that's one for the purists, that, innit? Like, that's a proper lesson in boxing.
And I think it might be a little bit like that. I can't see it being as exciting as maybe the Dubois Parker or even the Boatti Smith fight. I think Beterbiev probably just about as his number. Again, I'm not sure about the KO again though. I would probably still go Beterbiev on points. But yeah, unbelievable card. Looking forward to it massively. I probably won't be able to see when it gets to the Bivol fight because I'm out old. Well, the Everton playing early, aren't they? I think at R12. And then I'm out in Crosby, yeah.
Nice. Couple of things I will say just to finish off. There wasn't on the notes, but Paddy the Baddie got his date for the next fight, 12th of April in Miami. I was looking at going, but
Chandler.
It's the week after the Grand National. And Liverpool are playing as well in it. So, yeah, great fight that. Cannot wait to see that.
Stump infection incoming for that week, I reckon.
Yeah.
5 rounds against Chandler's tough though.
It is, and I think it's his first fight fighting someone in the top 10 now. I think Chandler's ranked 7th.
Chandler is a top 5 round fighter as well. Like he's
so experienced, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's going to be a cracker. Cannot wait for that. And then the only other thing I was going to mention, again, I don't know the whole thing of the case, and I'm just going to put my Novak Djokovic hat on because, you know, I'm a big fan of him. So, Jannik Sinner...
He's accepted it, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he's got a 3-month ban in a doping case settlement, but it's caused a few people to raise eyebrows just at how this whole kind of... How these bans are, you know...
3 months.
Well, it's just like... Novak Djokovic got banned from playing in the Australian Open because he didn't want to take a vaccine, right? Missed out on winning a title. This lad won a title by taking drugs, whether he knowingly done it or not. He had sports enhancing drugs in his drug enhancing. Can't speak. He had drug. What's he called when you say the
performance enhancing?
Performance enhancing. Okay, I can't speak. So he's had performance enhancing drugs in his system.
You had drug enhancing drugs last week.
Drug enhancing drugs, yeah. My legs fucking grew back last week, I'm telling you. So he's had, you know, things in his body that make him play better, and he's won tournaments, and they've slapped him with a 3-month ban. Novak Djokovic didn't want to take anything and
I
got
think
banned from playing.
He doesn't even miss a Grand Slam, does he, as part of that ban? I don't think, because of the timing of it. I'm fairly sure he doesn't miss a Grand Slam.
Sinner's won 2 Grand Slams, the US Open and the Australian Open, since testing positive. There have been claims from 24 Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic that the majority of players do not feel that the punishment is fair and that there's favouritism.
And I'm fairly sure, I might be wrong here, but I'm fairly sure that this 3-month ban means that he doesn't even miss a Grand Slam. It's like coincides with the gap timing in the calendar. Yeah.
It's crazy. So if you are like Novak Djokovic, you know, missed out on an opportunity to play in Australia to win the Australian Open because he didn't want to take the COVID vaccine, which was completely his choice. He was kind of lambasted against it. Oh, you can't do that now. You're not allowed to play. You've had a player there who's took performance enhancing drugs, won 2 fucking majors, and he's got a 3-month ban that doesn't even stop him from playing. I mean, how that is fair, I don't know.
As soon as I seen that come with news, thought Andy's going to love that.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of Novak for sticking up for himself, and he's not thought of any better, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's good to have you back, lads. I've enjoyed Musk. I'm sure Musk's enjoyed you, and I've not been here, but yeah, good to have the team back.
Definitely.
Yeah, thanks for supporting everyone. If you do want to support the show, you can on Patreon. It's I think it's £4 a month. It helps to keep the show going. We do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, share it with your friends. It's much appreciated, and we'll see you next week.